Right. I have been and brushed up on my knowledge of body temperature. It wasn't 42. It was 40.44444 recurring. Angel number. Angels all around you. But yeah, that means that there's been a couple of times, because I always thought it was 42. I remember buying a thermometer and it said if your temperature gets to 40, you should be in hospital. You need to be in, if it's, above 40 for like an hour or more, something like that, you need to be in hospital. Blah, blah, blah. So when I got that thermometer and read that, I remember thinking, oh, fuck off, it's more like 42. And there was a couple of times it got up to like 39.8. So I do seem to respond to fevers a lot more erratically. And it would, for me, just, fit with the picture of this hypersensitivity, the stuff that's been there since birth, mate. The stuff that's been there since birth. Regardless of all of the fucking societal reactions to my hypersensitivity and how I've been belittled and demeaned and scorned and ridiculed and fucking all of that. Like the way I was shivering last night, not a lot of people would have sort of tolerated it. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't. It's not allowed. The amount that I get cold. But again, it's probably a paradigm. I remember thinking of another one. There was I ran away when I was 12. We had it all figured out. We camped on the cliffside in January. We were going to get paper rounds. We were going to just pretend we were local lads that went to one of the schools, find out the name of the schools. And we had it all planned out. We were like looking at how much you get for a paper round if you're doing a morning one, an evening, an afternoon one, and a weekend one. And how much it was for things like beans and tut and bread and stuff. But there was a storm, and I mean, it would have probably about 4-6. It was pretty fucking heavy storm, right? But we were on a fucking cliff top. I want to go back there one day. Actually, it was in like a little, almost like a castle turret. There was a wall that went along. There was this round bit, and we pitched it in there. It was perfect for the tent. But one day the fly sheet came off, and I mean it was driving fucking rain in January, and I got sent out to put the fly sheet back on my own, and it was I was freezing, and I was begging to be let back in, and it was I was told that I was going to get like all the tins thrown at me if I tried. Everything hard in this tent will come flying at you until you get that fucking fly sheet on, and I couldn't do it, and they eventually let me back in. And one of the geezers went, he's fucking hell. Because it was like, I'd gone all blue apparently. I'd gone all fucking blue. And there was another night the tent blew down on the last night and we broke into a hotel. There's a building site there. And then a coffee machine. We were making a coffee. And it was like, fuck, someone upstairs, leg it. So I had to leg it. We ended up sleeping in a woman's toilet. The bloke's one was locked. The woman's one wasn't. So we went in there and just fucking crashed on the floor until the council fucking cleaners woke us up in the morning. But that was a freezing night, and it was the sleeping bags were saturated, so was our clothes, and that was just a night of shivering. I remember just shivering and shivering and shivering. And I was still a child. I was 12. So maybe that's why I'm like that with temperatures. But what I do know is just last night, fucking hell, I remember looking at the coat, but I was almost warm where I was, and I was at the point where as I pulled the duvet off, the coldness of the air would make me shiver. It's like literally, oh, fuck. That's how cold I was. That's how fucking cold I was. No one would believe me. It's never been allowed. People, oh, for fuck's sake, come on. That's what I get. It's like, the world isn't happening. The world isn't happening, Michael. You're not really shivering. I fucking am. It's a physical fucking manifestation. You can't not shiver. I think you sort of almost can, can't you? But that you have to rub your arms or you sort of run on the spot or whatever. Your body is kind of going, I'm too fucking cold. I'm going to die. I need to generate heat. That's what it's doing. And if that is caused by a psychological thing, I don't know. Maybe I'm just very, I know that if I get a rash, I get a fucking monstrous rash. I'm very reactive to everything. And so it would stand to reason if I get a temperature, I get a fucking colossal whooping temperature. I did make it down the shop. So that's a good sign because I couldn't it took me about half an hour to get the coat, I think. He's like, mate, just get the coat, it's there. Just reach out for it. Inner child was fucking there. He didn't want to fucking... It's fucking horrible. And so then that, I suppose, has led to a kind of subconscious paradigm, as it were, of being cold. I do react massively to it, being cold and wet. Where was I going with that? Wow, that's fucking... I've suddenly crashed there. So yeah, but you know, when people don't allow it, they don't allow it. And that links in, it doesn't really link in. But I want to look at the paradigm of, what is it? Stressor and consequence. So like, if someone says to you, have you heard about such and such? No. Both his parents died in a car crash, like sudden death. Something really fucking colossal, like a really close relationship with them, and da-da-da-da-da. And they are instantly sort of societally put into a kind of sick role. Not them playing the sick role, that's what people think it means. No, sick role is when society makes allowances for you based on what you've been through. And it's linked into when you're talking about stuff that you've been through, and the other person says, it must be subconscious though, them doing that. It must be subconscious. And there's the bullet gun. There's the bullet in the bullet wound in the gun again. I'm talking about the bullet wound and you're trying to decry the gun. What that actually does is, subconsciously, both of you then go, I can't really hurt that much then. Because you have recalculated the stressor, the instigator of the pain. So if if the intent was there, oh my God, it'd be terrible. But now I'm supposing that the intent might not have been there. I'm not them. I'm doing their thinking for them. I'm offering that to you as an explanation. So it was subconscious, so they didn't really mean it. It's like, it doesn't fucking matter. In terms of the damage that's done. If someone has shot you and they didn't mean it, someone just picked a gun up and it went off and you were really good friends and you ended up staying friends over it. And when your fucking leg isn't fucking been shot. That's the point. And I think that's sort of what happens paradigmically when people do that. And it's minimizing. It's the same as when people go, oh, don't worry about it, that's fine, it's not a problem, it's not a problem. When you're talking about something that's been a massive problem for ages. And they're just smiling at you and shrugging it off. That's sort of more paradigmy stuff, really. It's how we learn things. We learn them slowly and we get and we get to the end. And a few times later it's this means that, and we're just prescribing it. So there's like, let's say the person that we all admire, someone who's been through such and such, do you know she went through this, that and the other, then this happened to her, and she just says, I don't let it get to me, I just live my life, and look at her, she's doing this, that and the other. And she, I'm not saying she's not a hero, she is, but the reason she's living her life that way is not because she said those things about because she had done enough, she had found enough within herself, done enough healing to get to the point where suddenly everything looks that way, and then you're able to say it. But you're interpreted as, if you say it, you can just do it. And it ain't that fucking simple, mate. If it was that simple, there wouldn't be a mental health service. And that, that's what can get infuriating about this stuff. You just think, oh my God, you're shouting at me within 2 minutes over something that you've just spouted because you've heard it. And everyone says it a lot of the time. It's just, that's what you say to someone who's going through da-da-da. And you're rigorously defending it because you don't want your paradigms threatened. We stick up for our paradigms very strongly. And what's fucking frustrating is that's what's wrong with me. That's why I get so defensive, is because my paradigms are often all fucking threatened all the fucking time because they're all poisoned. And it's what makes me so fucking ill. But I have to shelve all that shit while I watch you protect your paradigms. That's one of the infuriations of it all. A lot of the time it's just, people are stuck in modes of thought. And yet again, I'm thinking, I'm reading the shit out of you. I'm reading the shit out of you. You can't understand me, but you say that you can. You give me a cure by telling me to just think differently, which shows that you haven't got a clue about this stuff. And I'm actually someone who apparently can't interpret the world around and think, well, I've just interpreted that. I can see why you're sticking to that opinion. It's because you believe that. So, like, even my illness isn't happening, although it is. Nothing's happening. That's the point I get to. I just think, is anything fucking real? I remember saying that to a mate, and he just went, you don't want to start thinking like that, mate. I was like, I know. Because that's the stuff I was on about when I was seeing Dr. Bleeperty, and he said that you were on the verge of wandering off on your own. And I'd consciously said that a few times. I'd said, at that point, I just want to fucking walk out the front door, throw the keys on the floor, and go, that's nothing to do with me. I don't know. No, don't know the bloke. Never heard of him. That's not me. And just keep walking. Because subconsciously, that's what was starting to happen. And that's why I was forgetting people's faces a lot. I kept forgetting people's faces. Because there's less of a Mikey. Everything that you know, everything that you understand, all of your paradigms run through your ego, your sense of you. And that can deny itself and use its own logic to say, I therefore can't exist, and pronounce itself a non-entity. And that's what nearly happened. That's why this stuff's frightening. That's why this stuff's frightening. But I'm held in place by other people's paradigms, which are just wrong. That's the point. Saying, to people who are being bullied, oh, it's because they like you, really. Stop saying that. It's wrong. I know, because I was bullied and I was crying and people were telling me that, and I was just baffled. Even at that little age, the world doesn't make sense. Why are they telling me that's a compliment? It's not a compliment. I know what a compliment looks like. I see other people getting compliments, the popular ones. They're not getting hit and spat at and laughed at and jeered at, and then the whole class laughing at them and all that shit. It's not a fucking compliment. Stop telling them it's a compliment. You have a paradigm, because you're going, oh, it's subconscious and they've got it, and you analyse the fucking bully, decide the bully that needs love, and you ignore the fucking victim and tell them to tell themselves it was a compliment. All paradigms. All fucking paradigms. All wrong. Don't tell a child that. Don't tell a child that. They need fucking comforting. They need love. They need comforting. They need building up. They need to have their confidence increased. They don't need to be told a load of bullshit that won't make sense to them, and their little brain's going, what? That's the truth, mate. Please stop saying that to people. I might watch this back because it's a little bit angry and a bit disjointed. But there you go. There was something else I was going to finish with, and it's gone, so I'm not going to try. Bye.